The Joe Rogan Experience.
You spent 200 days in space in a row.
I did. My first flight was 2 weeks. My second flight was 200 days.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
The 2 weeks was not enough. I got back to Earth and I was like, man, that was awesome. I need to go do this again. And after 200 days, it was awesome, but it was like, all right, I checked the box and, I've done everything. I was a shuttle pilot, station commander. I did spacewalks. So I I feel like I had a chance to do everything. I made an IMAX movie while I was up there. I feel like I had a chance to do, everything I wanted to do.
When you did 2 weeks, is there a recovery period when you return after 2 weeks?
Yeah, for sure. But it's pretty quick. Like when you land, I was super dizzy and I felt like everything was heavy. I was the last guy out of the shuttle because I was a pilot, and they came in. All right, time to get out, Virts. And I grabbed my helmet and I was like, "Be careful! This thing weighs 500 pounds."
Wow.
And that night, I was just like, I wanted someone next to me. I didn't fall over, but I felt like I was going to. But after a day or two, I was fine. But after the long duration flight, it was like that first day sucked. I could do everything. I could walk around, and they make you do this torture where you have to get on your stomach and it was like burpees, get up as fast as you can. They were trying to make you pass out from orthostatic intolerance. So I could do all that stuff. I just hated it. And then the second day was a little bit better. First day was like a couple bottles of wine. The second day was like a bottle of wine. The third day was like a glass or two. And by a week later, they make you do this balance test where they put you in this big box. You can't see anything. And then they move the box. And you're like, whoa. And they have force sensors on your feet where if your feet are doing this, you have bad balance. And if your feet go vroom and recover, you're good. So I did my balance test before flight and after flight. And after 200 days in space, a week later, my balance score was better than it was before I launched, which I couldn't believe. But I tell you that story just to say that, the human body is amazing. It can adapt pretty quickly.
That's great. So what is from the time you land after 200 days and then when you're 100%, how much time is that?
So there's some rule about driving cars. Like they don't want you driving cars for a couple weeks, and the doctor's got to sign off before you drive.
Oh, wow.
But like I said, after a week, I had a better balance score. And after a week, I did 20 pull-ups at the gym.
Really?
I was not 100%, but I was like 90%.
Now, is this because of exercises that they prescribe while you're in space?
Absolutely, yeah.
But what kind of stuff do you have to do up there?
So they give you 2.5 hours a day. The Russians learned on Mir that your bone density, it's like a linear progression down. About 1.5% a month, you lose bone density.
1.5%
and
a month?
it's a straight line. It doesn't like bottom out. And they had a guy up there for 440 days. He's the most ever time in space in one mission. So to combat that, we exercise. And they found that like pounding resistive exercise is what helps your bones and your muscles. So we have a weightlifting machine that's kind of like a Bowflex, and a treadmill and a bike. And I was religious about those things. I did them every day except for my 3 spacewalk days. And we had this really big emergency where other than those 4 days, I exercised every day.
And are you sweating up there?
You sweat a lot when you exercise. Just doing this, you don't sweat at all. You could wear the same underwear and shirt for weeks and you don't even notice. But if you have your exercise shirt, after a day, it's like drenched and stinky, like a stinky Under Armour shirt.
Because there's no circulation of air like
there's not as much.
Here.
Well, just like if you go to the gym and you get after it for an hour, you're going to be sweating. So it's the same thing in space. But even if you just walk around throughout the day, you can tell you got to wash your clothes, but in space you don't. Like for some reason, you just don't stink on normal.
Are they giving you like merino wool clothes to wear or something?
So we had Under Armour shirts.
Okay.
And after a day or two, it's like they stink, and you only got one shirt every 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
So those things, they were ripe after a couple days. So I did this experiment with wool clothes. Like you said, it was like a New Zealand company. I forgot the name of it. And I was kind of worried because I thought it'd itch, wool stuff. So I wore this thing every day for a month, got completely drenched, sweaty every day for a month in it. And it did not stink at all. Like
merino wool's amazing.
It's amazing. It blew me away.
There's a company called First Light. My friend Steve Rennell is one of the owners of it. Mm-hmm. It's a hunting company, and most of their clothing, particularly all their base layers and stuff, is all made out of merino wool. And the first time I'd ever worn it was on a hunting trip. And you realize when you go hunting, like one of the big problems is it's freezing cold out,
Right.
but you're hiking with a lot of gear, so you
Right.
sweat.
Right.
And then you have to sit down and you
Right.
freeze your
You get
ass
hypothermia,
off.
yeah.
But you don't with merino wool.
Yeah.
When merino wool is wet, it still keeps you warm.
Right.
And so these guys started making hunting gear out of it. And it's incredible stuff because it really doesn't smell. It's so bizarre.
I sweated drenching sweat every day for a month, and I did that twice, and it didn't smell at all. It blew me away.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's organic. I mean, the fibers from the wool and just
Yeah.
for whatever reason, it just shakes. I don't know what scientific analysis they've ever done on it, but they
don't
can't
know.
really seem to do that with synthetics. They try it with synthetics, but they can't quite get
Yeah.
there.
You need a washing machine.
So were you the one who figured that out? You brought that stuff with you?
Well, I mean, it was like a formal experiment. You know, NASA said that I was working on mice and doing astronomy and testing out new wool fabric. It was just one of the 250 experiments I did, but it was a good one to do because I didn't stink for a couple months, which was
That's
nice.
crazy that even in space, merino wool's the way to go. That's nuts.
Yeah, I was really worried. I was afraid it was going to be itchy, but I got like XXL. I wanted it loose. I didn't want like wool rubbing on me, but it worked. It was
It
good.
doesn't itch. You
No.
think of it as like being like that coarse wool that like your grandfather
Right.
wore that just makes you scratchy.
Right.
But no, they get it down to where it feels like cotton. It's very soft.
They got it figured out, man. That stuff was awesome.
So when you're using these machines, they're all resistance band machines. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So my book, I have a whole. I make fun of the acronyms. It's ARED, which is the NASA acronym for workout machine. So it uses vacuum. There's like tubes, like a cylinder. So instead of compressing the air for your force, you're pulling against a vacuum, and you can get the ARED machine is 600 pounds. So I can't bench or squat 600 pounds, but you can put it on there. So you could hurt yourself. And the really interesting about these machines is they're not attached to the wall of the station. They're on like springs and moving devices. They're called vibration isolation system, because if it was attached, think about like running on a treadmill. That's a lot of pounding, 200 pounds pounding. And the Earth doesn't really move that much when you do it on Earth, but in space, there's nothing supporting the space station. So even though it's 1 million pounds, the vibration from exercise would actually start to
You're knocking out of orbit?
not out of orbit. You break it apart, actually.
What, really?
They told us in a couple minutes of that'll snap it in half. Yeah, because the whole thing starts to bend and flex. And if you're doing it in resonance, it's really dangerous. They've got videos of like the solar rays, and these things are big. They don't fit in a football field. They're hundreds of feet, and they start moving. And if the astronaut if they forget to use the vibration system correctly, the station starts flexing. And Houston, there's some guy that monitors, and like the alarm goes off, and they call you up, stop doing what you're doing.
Whoa.
It kind of blew me away. It's a 1 million pound massive spaceship, but still there's nothing stopping it. There's nothing like supporting it.
There's no like frame.
No, it's just floating. So even the exercise of you running on a treadmill or you doing squats, there's a lot of, if you're pushing 400 pounds this way, something's pushing 400 pounds that way, right? So, and if you're going up and down in the right frequency, it'll snap the station in half.
Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch between video and audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the JRE in the background while using other apps and can download episodes to save on data cost, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.